Tomorrow will mark the 1-month anniversary of the Bondi terror attack. The central charge coming from the Jewish community in the wake of this has been that the Albanese government in the years prior had failed to stem the scourge of anti-Semitism here, and that after the attack, it took weeks for the government to heed those calls from the community for a royal commission. Can I put it to you, their claim that the government has failed Jewish Australians?
Look, Bondi was a horrific attack, and we saw 15 lives lost, people injured, an attack, as the Prime Minister said, motivated by hatred and people with guns in their hands who wanted to kill Jewish Australians. It was horrific, and the whole country stands with the Jewish community. Anti-Semitism is unacceptable, and it's a scourge on who we are. It's an attack on who we are, and I think you would have heard me say this over the last few years. Prejudice of all forms, anti-Semitism, these are anathema to who we are as Australians, and we all need to stand against them. Now, we have listened to the Jewish community in the establishment of the Royal Commission, and you've seen yesterday the Attorney-General, the Home Affairs Minister and the Prime Minister put forward what will be the strongest laws against hatred in this country.
Could they have come prior to the attack, though? If these laws are necessary now, would some members of the Jewish community think you should have done this prior, it shouldn't have taken a terror attack to necessitate these sort of changes?
Look, we look back also to 1998 when one of the murderers arrived in Australia. We look back to when was it that they became radicalised and adhered to ISIS and extremist Islamic ideology. There are all these things that I think need to be looked at. We did act on hate speech and hate symbols, but I'm a strong supporter of these laws which are coming forward. I think that in these times we need to stand very strongly against hate speech and those who seek to preach and incite hatred and violence, and that's what these laws do.
We've seen the Prime Minister invite Israel's President Herzog to come to Australia. Do you have any update on when that could happen?
Well, I'll leave that for the Prime Minister to announce, but yes, obviously that was a discussion that we had as part of the many discussions over the last month. I think it is a good thing for President Herzog to come to Australia. I think that is, as was put to me by members of the Jewish community, it was an important signal of the importance for the Jewish community of our relationship with Israel.
And I'm sure you noted you would have seen the comments from Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in the wake of the Bondi attack. He's been incredibly critical of the Albanese government, the Prime Minister and yourself. What is the state of the relationship with the Netanyahu government at the moment? How can you rebuild ties with one of Australia's?
Well, I'm not going to get into responding to some of those political comments, but I would say is we continue to engage. Obviously, the invitation's being extended. I engaged with my counterpart, Minister Sarr, after Bondi. I briefed him on what had occurred. I briefed him on the investigation, and I also communicated with him about the Royal Commission. So, we are in dialogue, and that's as it should be.
Are you confident you can rebuild ties?
Well, those ties exist, and we will continue to engage respectfully with the government of Israel, as we do with all other governments.
Foreign Minister Penny Wong, thanks for your time.
Good to speak with you, Trudy.